And next sitting in July, we have three major reforms. Number one, we want to restore Parliament to become an independent house, in line with doctrine of separation of power. Okay. Now the present structure is, in fact, Parliament is subservient to the executive. Now let me explain, even though I know there are many lawyers here. Okay, we have three branches of the government. One is legislative, that is Parliament. Second is executive, that is minister in the cabinet. Third is judiciary, or the judges. These three, according to Montesquieu, it shall be separated, so that you will have a perfect check and balances system. 不可以为所欲为，只手遮天. This is what Chinese say, right? So now the present structure is Parliament is subject to Prime Minister Department. You have a minister in charge of Parliament affairs, which to me doesn't make sense. That's what we have been fighting for. It should be, Parliament should be independent from the executive. Now we have a minister in charge of Parliament affairs. His name is Dato' V.K. Liew from Sabah. He's a minister of law, and he will decide, he will dictate. This coming July, Cabinet has actually approved in principle to restore the status of Parliament. We are going to pass Parliament Services Commission Act, so that Parliament will no longer subject to the executive. Parliament will have our own budget, our own staffing. We can in fact employ Dr. Clarence to become our research center head in Parliament. If you are good, or by merits, you can have your own budget, you can have your own development plan, you can set your own sitting. That is what it should be. So, Parliament become a watchdog of the executive to protect the interests of the public. Okay? This will be the major reform, because it will actually change the country history. Apart from that, we also have in the pipeline to introduce for the first time the Ministry Day. Okay, what is the Ministry Day? Now in Parliament, you have about 28 ministers. During Parliament sitting, most of them have to be on duty. Some, when they are not answering questions, in fact, they are loitering around the lobby, which is a waste of time and also waste of resources. So when after meetings with ministers and deputies, okay, we have in the pipeline to introduce the Ministry Day. For example, Monday is Finance Ministry Day, and Lim Guan Eng is compulsory to attend. And he has to stand there for the whole day on duty to answer to all the questions pertaining to his ministry. But when other days come, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he can go back to Putrajaya, he can go back to MOF to do his work. He doesn't need to spend all the entire weeks in Parliament. For example, Tuesday is the Defense Ministry Day. Then Mak Sabu must come. So etc., etc. Okay, that will actually increase the efficiency and in terms of management. So apart from the Ministry Day, we also have in pipeline to introduce the Prime Minister Question Time. This is one of the best practices implemented in House of Commons UK. For those who watch BBC.com, every day you know how tension was Theresa May and even Tony Blair. I was in London in January when I speak to the clerk of the House, which is the UK House of Commons, the Walking Dictionary, Sir David Nasler. He told me that in fact one of the fun memory is every Wednesday when the Prime Minister has to come to answer 45 minutes, okay, they are all hypertension time. Their blood pressure always goes up. Okay, you know why? Because everything is transparent. You are there, the whole House interrogate the Prime Minister. And they ask, you answer, you ask, answer, and you are there alone 45 minutes. So every Wednesday is the most tension day for a British Prime Minister. But we are very happy that hopefully Malaysia can also emulate that, because you do not need to rely on other unfounded news, so that the PM can come himself to answer the question by the MPs. So we hope that this July we have three major reforms: the Ministry Day, Prime Minister question time. He cannot delegate to one Aziza. Tun has to come. Only Prime Minister can answer. Especially normally it's the hottest topics, and then we actually have planned to do live telecasts every Prime Minister's question time. So even though you are in the office holding your handphone, you can always switch on. Then you know the first-hand information. That is how transparent the new government compared to before. Okay? So once you have these three major reforms, Ministry Day, Prime Minister question time, and also Parliament Services Commission Act, we believe that it will change the national political landscape in terms of institutional reform. Okay?